Hi parents. Today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about that child that you've got in your home, that 6 to 12-year-old child. You know that Montessori spoke about planes of development, and she divided children into very specific planes. The first plane is from 0 to 6 years old, then from 6 to 12, 12 to 18, and 18 to 24. Today we're going to focus on that developing 6 to 12-year-old child. Previously, your little one had a focus all on themselves. All they wanted to do was for themselves, and how could they do it better. They wanted to refine themselves and develop themselves better. But now your 6 to 12 child, that child in the second plane, their focus starts to become on others. They want to focus their interests on what are other people doing. They want to work in small groups. And this is because they have a drive to start leaving the family. Now, I know it's quite a thing to think about your 60 or 12-year-old child wanting to leave your family. But let's think about how the human being develops. That little one needed to be close to the family. And slowly and gradually, that child needs to start moving away from the family in a way that they feel comfortable and confident. So for your 6 to 12-year-old child, it will start with play dates. For your 18 to 24-year-old child, it will start with moving out. And that's how they become productive members of society, or let's say contributive members of society. It is important that we respect the development of each plane and the characteristics of each plane and support the child so that they can fully achieve their potential. Sometimes you will see that 6 to 12-year-old children can become quite rude. And very often I have parents saying to me, I don't know what has happened to my child. When they were 4, they had much better manners than they have now. And that's because they're testing the rule. 6 to 12 children are very focused on moral development and on justness. So they want to know, if I say, please, does it matter how I say it? Will I still get the response? So can I say, please may I have some milk, Mum? Or can I say, I want some milk, please? Does that affect the outcome? How does this rule work? What is this thing about manners? And so very often parents are quite distraught that their children who are between 6 and 12 years do tend to show this rudeness. But it's not because they're wanting to be rude. What their intention is that they want to explore the parameters of these things called manners, these rules that we have. If everyone has to put their shoes in the bedroom, why can mom's shoes lie out here? What is the rule there? Let's think about playing games as a family. Monopoly is a game that many families play. Now, if you're playing with a 6 to 9-year-old child, if you pass begin, you will get 200 Rand, not a cent more and not a cent less. If you stop on a property and you have to buy it or pay your rent or whatever, they will follow those rules to the letter. Now let's think about the 9 to 12-year-old child who's had that experience with rules, has seen where rules can be flexible. That child is starting to think about things like, hang on, if we agree as a group playing this game that when you pass begin you get 500 Rand, is everyone in agreement with that? Can we do that? So they're starting to find that flexibility, which you know as adults, life is not black and white. There are a lot of gray areas. And your 6 to 9-year-old child is still developing that black and white. They need to know exactly what will happen before and after, or what they need to know both sides of the coin. For your 9 to 12-year-old, you can rationalize in different ways, but using that imagination and that important reasoning mind of theirs. Children in the second plane are incredibly resilient. Very often, they'll fall down, they'll jump up, and they'll say, oh, gee, look at me. I didn't even get hurt. Or, wow, Mom, look at this bruise. So 6 to 12 children push their bodies physically, they push themselves physically, they're daring, they try all sorts of things. So don't be alarmed when they come home with scratches. 9-year-old boys are physically incredibly strong, and they push themselves, they drag huge tree trunks around with them. They need activities that allow them to get this energy out. And it's not just testosterone, it's building those muscles, developing themselves, and they know they need to do it. Children at this age are desperate to be liked by their peers, but they also want to stand out and be unique. So don't be alarmed when your child wants to have a shirt or a pair of shoes just like their friend. It's not that they're bowing down to peer pressure, it's that they're trying to find that balance between fitting in and being themselves. Just support them, help find the reasons why they want to do certain things. The Montessori teacher considers all the characteristics of the 6 to 12 child when planning our curriculum. What we have in a Montessori environment is we have an integrated curriculum. We do not teach separate subjects. Everything is integrated. So initially, we give the children 5 great lessons. And these great lessons, you could imagine, are the umbrella of our curriculum. And then within that, we offer little key lessons to the child to meet their interests. Now, in the 3 to 6, the teachers plan their curriculum and they say we're giving the child the keys to the world. So we want the children to have these little keys to explore their senses, explore the world around them, but it's all around the child and very close. In the 6 to 12 environment, we call it the keys to the universe. We want to give the child everything. We give them the world, we give them the universe. So the more we can expose the children to, the better. We are key holders though, and not tour guides. It's really important that adults working with children in this age don't give the children the answers. Don't give them everything they need to know. Plant the seeds. So effectively, we're going to open the door to botany, but we're not going to teach them everything they need to know about it. We're going to give them key lessons. You need to know about venation. You need to know about roots. You need to know about monocotyledons and dicotyledons. But we don't have to fill in every single thing. And that's often where I see parents and teachers going wrong, is that we overload the children with information. We give them very little to discover themselves. There's no room for them to fly, so to speak. When we give the child everything, the message that's coming through for that child is you will never know everything and you can never find out everything. You need to wait for me to tell you. And that's not what we want our children to believe. In a Montessori school, we want our children to believe that there is nothing they cannot find out. There is nothing that they cannot learn. And sometimes we learn how not to do things, and other times we learn really quickly how to do something. But the focus is on giving them something to discover. So very often, the teachers and I all chuckle to ourselves on our Friday meeting where we say, oh my goodness, this one really thought I was quite stupid when they said, oh, did you know that the sun is a ball of gas? And we act all surprised and go, oh my goodness, really? What kind of gas? So we do that not to deflate ourselves or, because it's not about us. We do that to encourage that child to think, wait, there are types of gases? Oh my goodness, let me go find out what they are. And is the sun made of the same gases that Jupiter is made of? What kind of gases do we have in Earth? What happens if we breathe different gases to oxygen? What will happen? So very often your Montessori teacher answers questions with another question. There are times, however, because we read our children well and we know them intimately, there are times where we do just give them what they're looking for. So you need to, at home, find that balance between allowing them to go on their own and also supporting them so that they don't reach a level of frustration. When a child is frustrated, they will stop learning. But encourage them to do as much as they can for themselves. The 6 to 12 child also has a fascination with heroes. They're in a stage of hero worship, which is why your 3 to 6-year-old who thought you were the best thing since sliced cheese is now saying, but Mum, Kim says this, or John says that, or finding out what the other heroes say. parents have now stepped off that pedestal and the child has learned that other people know stuff too. So they are at a stage for hero worship. So it's really important that you as a parent expose your children to worthy heroes to worship. So think about, while they're watching YouTube and Dan TDM, is this a good hero for my child to be exposed to? You can expose them to myths and legends. You can expose them to Aesop's fables. You can expose them to fairy tales of knights and castles and princes and princesses, because they have an imagination. They have a reasoning mind. They can totally abstract now in a way that they couldn't do when they were in the 3 to 6 years. So I'm here today to encourage you to give your child responsibility, to give them chores, to encourage them to complete work on their own. It's not about you doing the work, it's about the child doing the work. The activities that we're going to be sending home are going to require the child to use their reasoning mind, to use their huge imagination. We're giving them keys to the universe based off of the great lessons that we're going to be starting with. An integrated curriculum where we're learning about volcanoes, we're learning about science, we'll be doing maths, we'll include language around that topic. So it's very application-based learning, very integrated. And for you as a parent, you should not be arguing with your child over stuff. Give them some ideas. Do it together with them. Say, oh, I'm going to write down what my volcano did. And if your child's not a great writer yet, say, why don't you make a comic book? And then we'll show them to mom or dad later, or to our older sister. Get them to repeat the experiments as much as you can. We will send home all the ingredients that they need initially for their activities, but we'll also tell you what their ingredients are. So if you're making a volcano, you need red food coloring, vinegar, and bicarb. If you don't have it at home, we've provided some for you, but they're going to want to do that experiment a couple of times and get them to push the boundaries. What else could you do with bicarb and vinegar? Do you only have to do it in a volcano? What happens if we put bicarb flat and we drop little bits of vinegar on it? Let's think about these things. Get them to develop that scientific mind, that scientific reasoning. We would love to be in the class with your children. This is what brings us joy. This is what we wake up for in the morning. We want to get in there. We want to get our hands dirty. We want to ask the questions, pose the theories, get the children excited, inspire them to learn. Unfortunately, we can't. And this is our plea for you. As parents, you're going to have to do this for us. And if you get stuck, phone us, let us help you. But we are going to do everything we can to make your journey easier. But we want you to inspire your children. We want you to be us. We want you to fill them with interest. We want you to spark curiosity. We want to build that flame, that desire to learn and be more and be amazing, because that's what we do in class. I'm going to leave you with one thought, and that's the motto that we run our classes by. Inspire, don't require. Don't drill them, inspire them. An inspired child will work. An inspired child will complete activities. And that's what we're going to work at.